So when it comes to monitors, I don't really review many of them, and with the simple reason I just review them when I'm going to be needing a different monitor. However, this is not exactly the case over here because I already have a couple of monitors I'm using for quite a long time now and I'm quite satisfied. Where I came across these Titan Army monitors, I felt really intrigued. However, specification wise, these things are quite interesting and way better than the monitors I'm using at this moment. But then is the question, is it really an upgrade? Because I'm also looking into, let's say, monitors that I can use for editing and other functionalities. Where I'm guessing this Titan monitor is made for gaming and high refresh rate, I think this can be a very cool new upgrade for my own setup. This is the model P2510S. It's an fast IPS with a 16:9 aspect ratio and a resolution of 2560 by 4040 and a max free refresh rate of 240 Hz. However, this is the black colored version and the net weight is around like 2.90 kilograms. But let's do a quick unboxing and see how this thing is packed up and how you're going to be receiving it. I was very excited about this, but also kind of surprised that the box almost weighs nothing. So it's very lightweighted compared with other monitors I've reviewed. And this has to do, I'm guessing, for the stand what it's actually putting on because it is quite basic. Show you later what I mean. Always be very careful because they're not using any tape for putting the two foam shells together. Putting the monitor together is quite easy. Always be very careful. The weight itself, I don't find it a very heavy monitor and it's not curved, so you don't need to be very extra careful with that. But when it comes to the base, it looks kind of good when it comes to that. However, it's all made out of plastic and it weighs almost nothing. The power supply they are using is just your typical 12-volt power supply and I'm very happy with it because if it gets broken or you have problems, you can replace it fairly easy by another one. So this is the other part of the base, and when it comes to that, I must say that everything, this looks kind of good, though optical wise there's nothing wrong with there, but it's kind of basic and plastic. And no adjustable height, and in here we're finding a display cable and all the other parts. But let's open it up and let's check out the monitor. So the monitor itself, I find it a very lightweight monitor when it comes to, let's say, my previous model I'm using. And the first thing I find already very interesting that this thing also comes with a lot of input ports. And I think that's one of the more appealing parts about this. Having 2 display and 2 HDMI, and a feature that I find very pleasant. The display looks absolutely stunning with the Titan Army logo at the front. And in here having all of the connections. Yep, input for the power supply, 2 HDMI and 2 display, and an audio out. And the audio out is going to be super convenient because I can plug in speakers and we can have at least audio when we're going to be playing some games. So when you're going to be assembling this is just like a plug and play solution. So first, the base itself, this clicks together fairly easy. And I must say the overall quality is quite nice. I must say that I'm surprised how good it actually is. And how it good clicks. So when it comes to that, it's basic, but it's functional. Sliding this in, this is a little bit more tricky when it comes to that. I've been wiggling around with it just to see how this works. But if you're getting the hang of it, it clicks in. Yeah, not like that, of course. Yep, okay, there we go. Click it in, and you can remove it fairly easy if you want to. So the function of that is very nice. But again, we have seen it with different monitors. Yeah, you can put on the base like this. And this is actually one of the ways you can just assemble it. And that's it. So moving on to something else. So the display, or the way how the display looks, is just great. I love it. And yeah, one of the things is like, how is the height? There is nothing of an adjustable situation over here. So I think that's the biggest downside. So the wiggle test. And yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's not bad at all. That's one of the things I really hate about these things. Is like they wiggle all the time. But it's not bad at all. However, the way how it looks, we do have a VESA mount at the back, meeting, yep, over here. So if you want to do a different configuration, you don't want to use the original base, you can just get yourself like an aftermarket, let's say, base for the monitor where you can put them on. Don't mind this over here, there was an old recording of some other video I've made some time ago. But you can just put them on your desk like that. There's another way, of course, to do so if you don't want to use the original parts for the base itself. The monitor itself is adjustable when it comes to the angle, so that's good. I'm very happy that it's possible because that's one of the things I'm going to be using a lot throughout the video. So let's power it on. And one of the things I'm very happy with when booting up, It's not that we're going to be seeing the logo. No, I found it not really annoying. I still remember those other brands that like these flashing images. It's not happening here. I really love the subtle configuration. Okay, so the menu, it's the first thing we're getting is the language itself. I needed to be very careful because with the button configuration I didn't really know which one to press for getting in and out the menu, but after setting up everything works quite well. You can select a different input, but what I find even more convenient, there is just an auto option. It will automatically detect which of the inputs is going to be used and automatically switch to that. But first off, let's play some games and let's see how it looks. So we're going to be starting off with my PlayStation 5. So one thing you need to take consideration if you're going to be plugging in the PlayStation 5 and you want to have the maximum resolution on the screen and have the full potential, we're going to be going into the settings and setting it up. Yep, because if we're going to be checking it out over here, you can press the buttons. And here we're having all of the quick menus where we can switch between options, go back and etc. The monitor comes packed with all kinds of different picture modes and picture settings, and this is exactly what separates us from, let's say, my older monitors, but also when it comes to just basic monitors you're having for your daily office work. But also the reason that I want to deep dive into this menu to see what it is when it comes to the colors, because the original colors out of the box I was not really surprised by it and I was almost kind of disappointed, so I just wanted to see what happens if we're going to be putting it in HDR mode. I also noticed this FPS mode, and I'm guessing it has to do with the refresh rate, the fast, let's say, modes you're having if you're going to be playing certain games. However, let's do a quick overview of a couple of them and just to see if it's going to be making any difference and if it's going to be the next level to monitor gaming, and also particularly when it comes to the colors. But let's switch between the HDR mode and man, whoa, what a difference this is. So let's do a quick overview of a couple of modes. So the first one is going to be the original mode, then let's switch to the HDR mode. From HDR we're going back to the normal mode without any tweaks going on. And you can see it's all a little bit gray, it's not like very nice color aspect ratio. And then going back to the FPS mode, it also looks kind of nice. Not as great like the HDR, but it's absolutely a significant improvement over the overall standard, let's say, option when you're going to be powering it on. But giving you an example with the white colors of the monitor, and you can just exactly see that with the white controller in my hand, you can see there's absolutely different, where with the HDR it looks exactly how it should be looking. This thing comes with a lot of great features and of course the nice resolution combined with a high refresh rate. However, when you're looking into the PlayStation, we can use 4040p on this monitor itself, giving this monitor absolutely the best signal it can get from the PlayStation, or at least getting the full potential of the monitor exactly. And I can tell you, it's very difficult to capture from the camera. This looks amazing on the PlayStation 5, and I was really intrigued by just playing a little bit of a game. So that's what we're going to be doing. It's still running on 60 Hz, but with max resolution.
Coming to you live from the London Thunder Yard, this is Three, two, one, we're off! It's every all-star for themselves as they create mayhem and earn points in the arena. When the clock hits 0, the all-star with the most points wins. Up in my grill, literally! Your metal's not so heavy now! Fantastic wreck!
So let's move on to the Xbox, and with the Xbox I can tell you that with dirt this monitor comes to life. And I mean particularly when you're looking at how beautiful it looks. I've been playing this game on all kinds of different devices, and where this is a beautiful colorful game, I can really enjoy this game again, simply because not of the refresh rate, because it's still running on 60 Hz, but it is absolutely beautiful on the full resolution of this monitor. product is going to be the Nintendo Switch. And this is one of the things I really wanted to check out, with a simple reason because the Nintendo Switch has a really cool games that are very colorful, but unfortunate, the max resolution what I understand of is 1080p that it's going to be sending it out. However, it doesn't spoil the fun because I think the game is absolutely a blast to the past with some Street Fighter. But let's start off and do a little bit of gameplay with this because it does look absolutely amazing. And this is one of those games that are like quite colorful and you can just see how nice this monitor looks. But another great game to test is some Mario Kart, because this is a beautiful, colorful game and a lot of fun. And I can tell you, playing these Switch games on low resolution that the monitor is actually made for, it still looks just great. So moving on to the PC, because the PC has the option to actually having the high refresh rate. Of course, we need to combine this with the right games. I just wanted to see how far we're going to be pushing it. And the big problem we're going to be facing, if you want to have like the fastest, let's say, refresh rate, I think I can even handle it with this particular RTX 2060. The other problem of the situation is that can you even run it on 2K, the highest refresh rate, and then of course trying to be high graphics? And that is, I think, the biggest problem we're facing now. You need to have like a serious graphics card if you want to use the higher resolution, or at least like the maximum resolution and the maximum refresh rate. So let's say we're having the Killing Floor game and we can do a lot of tweaking. We can even put it in all kinds of cool resolutions. However, we do have limitations when it comes to the frames per second. So many games, and you need to take a look into the specs if the game even utilizes the maximum resolution refresh rate your graphics card can handle. So the combination of finding not only the right graphics card, it's also finding the right game that can actually support it. So where I love the smoothness of the monitor itself, where I'm using an older model now, I can tell that this thing is absolutely playing really smooth for just playing some shooting games. And if you're going to be moving on to some racing games, also this looks just amazing when it comes to the smoothness, but also when it comes to the colors. And this is going to be an improvement of the older monitor I'm actually using. That is also an IPS and also is actually a 100, I think it's 44Hz monitor. Nevertheless, besides the refresh rate that I'm also not utilizing every single game, it's quite interesting to see what you can do with this. But if you're going to be playing some Forza Horizon, yep, this game supports higher resolutions. And yeah, this is going to be a very smooth overall experience. So in the end, the monitor itself, it's going to be absolutely an improvement over the old models I'm having. And the reason why, because the smoothness, but also when it comes to the overall quality of the display, is absolutely stunning. You can use this thing for all kinds of devices. Take consideration that when it comes to these particular products, when it comes to high refresh rate and resolutions, that your product you're going to be using and plugging in is going to be having a full support. Of course, it's all cool to have all kinds of fancy specs, but if you're not going to be using it, we still have a beautiful panel, but we're not going to be utilizing that 240Hz crazy IPS panel. Because with a PC, you need to have some really serious specifications. Thank you all for watching, consider subscribing, and it would be great if you have any questions, so you can leave it in a comment.